button. There we go, Ben. I can see you're
Yeah.
ready, but
Yeah. I'm glad I got the warning too.
I know, isn't it? I mean, that's probably. Oh, by the way, good morning, Ben. How are you? Thanks for calling in from Kentucky today. I appreciate it.
Good morning, Mitch. I'm doing well. Yourself? Happy to be
This is
here.
fun. It's been too long. I was glad to see you too because there was. I think the last time you and I talked, there was a reason, but you were wearing a stocking cap, so it was the winter.
It was chilly. It was fall, and I was rushing around to get back here from football practice,
Ah,
which
yeah,
has
all
gone on
things.
too long.
Yeah, that's very parental of you. Now you're doing baseball, so there you go.
Yes, we skip winter because that's gross.
I'm sure. Well, we kind of did in here in Texas as well. But I want to talk today because I mean, when I'm putting these together, I usually I tell you like I cut the topics, I usually have somebody in mind I want to talk to about it, and I think you and I can relate because I saw this on Instagram from a I don't know what it is, a company, a post, whatever called Code of the West, and they said there was a time when the unknown felt like an invitation and an opportunity waiting, but now we see it as a risk without a reward. And they went on to develop a bit further, but I figured that's enough for me. I think
Mhm.
I know that. I mean, I agree with that, but that's kind of, you know, one of the, like you mentioned, is what we're doing here today. It's like, boredom used to be a doorway, not a problem to solve. And we want to talk about that today because I think, I don't want to lump everybody together, but I think not enough people appreciate the fact that, what used to be boredom was more of an opportunity.
No, I would agree with that. I think it's actually there's I'm starting to see with children and child rearing that it's actually better for your kids to be bored. They're kind of swinging the pendulum swinging back. It seems as far as
Oh,
this
yeah.
research goes.
Well,
So I
good.
mean, but I mean, it's not specifically children, but I'd like to think everybody.
Well, because you
So
see when
plugging
like
in.
anybody gets bored now or they have a moment of like, you know, like they don't have anything to say or not listening, so they'll pull the phone out. It's like, my God, at the gym. Oh, I've got I don't want to complain about, but I've kind of made it like a habit. I heard oh God, what's his name? Will Arnett on the podcast called Smartless, which is funner than hell. The game is three celebrities: Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and the guy from Will and Grace, Sean Hayes. And Will was saying like he's kind of made it a habit of his to like people watch like when they'll just go to their phones. Any opportunity or any open time, they go to their phones. And now this like I don't think they know what to do anymore.
I imagine as such. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like to what you're saying. It's easy to just entertain yourself with the screen. And
Well,
then
it's like because we built it around like let's face it, over the last let's call it a decade or maybe probably more, but the culture's built around like certainty and comfort and control. Like
Mhm.
GPS was made public. I think President, oh gosh, what's his name? Slick Willie, not Slick Willie.
Clinton.
Yeah, Slick Willie. He's the one that made it released to the public in 2000. That so now we got GPS, so we never have to worry about that. We've
Hmm.
got algorithms, so we never get bored. We got notifications, so you never miss anything. But in the
Hmm.
process, I think we've trained ourselves to treat anything that's uncertain as more of like, something to be concerned about. It's a problem. Like, God forbid the phone rings. It's like, it could be my kid, and I know he's calling for a good reason, but what's wrong? Or
Yep.
have,
Yep. Who hasn't been in that situation when I'll just call I expect the worst, right? Somebody calls you and it's like,
yeah,
what's going on?
yeah.
It's like, oh, I just want to say, hey,
Well, the
okay.
first, yeah, the first reaction in your mind is, pardon my French, and I'll use like to warn people that there's a swear word coming. So if a kid's listening, I'll give you 5 seconds to get him out of earshot. One, two, three. So the first reaction is, oh shit, like,
Mm.
oh, what the what? But it's like, but we've got to understand, like, that's not everything needs to be explained or controlled. It's like, we risk becoming, the people who avoid anything that we can't predict. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But that's gonna be limiting. I think it's gonna be not dangerous, but well, like you were saying, it's especially with kids. And I don't want to bring up because we'll talk about it later. There's especially definitely there's only like two main sections I want to talk about today. But um, well, being a kid and you remember, back in the day, your parents like they would look at you on a Saturday morning and you would understand like they want me to leave.
And get the fuck out.
I know,
Sorry.
right?
Sorry.
Nope.
Got the
Hey, where's the
warning.
5 second warning? But
It doesn't isn't land the same.
hey, by the way, you're supposed to compliment my shirt, by the
Oh
huh?
yeah,
Ain't
go
this?
Texas, hook 'em or whatever it says, right? That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, you dick, you dick.
Is that where?
But no, I
What
want
is that? The other guys?
Oklahoma probably,
I don't know.
but they
Not
do
from there.
horns down. They think that's original. But
Oh,
but I want first of all, God bless Goodwill because I've gotten so many good shirts from Goodwill, and I
hmm
love Goodwill. But I
and it's
wanted
cut
to,
straight. The stitching is straight, right?
I don't know. Probably not. I guarantee you that it feels like they got the size wrong. But either that or putting on some pounds. But I just wanted to point out the fact real quick on a quick segue. Speaking of shirts and of my mug, that I should point out the Mitch Wonders mug.
Mm.
You can't get it. You can't get it in the merch store. But you can get a lot of stuff in the merch store. And there is a new webpage, mitchwonders.com. It's been upgraded lately. It's got whiskey reviews, barbecue reviews. So I've been and I've sampled just for the team. My son and I sampled some bourbons for you. And but as far as the merch store goes, there is one shirt on there in the merch store. I like to remind everybody that you can see it's pointed out clearly that all the sales and all the proceeds from that shirt go to support the National Veterans Foundation. The foundation is supported by its veterans. It's run by veterans. It's supported by us, and it's there for veterans if they need some assistance, if they need someone to talk to. So I thought it was a great cause, and if you feel like helping out, it's on the merch store.
Thanks. I'm looking at it right now. I'm still not committed. I'm so terribly sorry, but I will.
The webpage is nice, though. I think the
Yes, I
webpage
would
came
say so.
out
It's clean. It's very clean. I like it. The branding
good,
is on
good.
point.
Well, look at the by
It's
the
subtle.
first when you land there it's driving through my windshield looking up at Blanco County. I love that view of the open Texas up there the rolling hills they call it hill country. Blanco is a beautiful country. I hope to live there one day.
Did you have your
Don't tell
GPS off?
Austin. I can leave it off the GPS off, but that's I don't know about you because there's sometimes and we're getting back into it. Ready? I'll just there was like I leave my phone like in the car, or I'll leave it on the kitchen counter, like enough for a day. I'm just
Hmm
letting it sit. But there's like, I think there's a shift, like they say with that saying from Code of the West, there was a time when the unknown felt like an invitation. And I think we need more of that. I used to enjoy that because I remember when uh, my girlfriend at the time, who would become my wife, and then my ex-wife, we went out to South Dakota, and like one of the first real dates we took, real trips we took, camping at Mount Rushmore, and all we had was that giant atlas. Remember that big old
hmm
Brand McNally atlas? We had no GPS, but basically all we had to do was get on Route 80 and point it west anyway. But still, that added to the adventure.
Yeah, that's always when we did that. We did it in college. I think seen right before right after junior year. We just drove west with the Atlas. This is I don't know early 2006, and just pointed it west and made our way from Virginia all the way up to the Tetons.
That's awesome. That's
Bunch
awesome.
of random ass roads in sorry 5 seconds. A bunch of random roads in Iowa. Learned that grid is there's a lot of letters and numbers in those road names.
Yeah. A lot of letters and numbers change differently here in Texas too, and I got to get used to like farm to market road and things like that. But but I am now. And so it's like less and less and it's but like you say and I think one thing I still use GPS in town. So like if I'm
Hmm.
coming from one place like north of Austin and I'm coming down to my home on the south side, but it's rush hour, like if there's a wreck or if there's a faster way to get around, I still do that. But it's just like, it feels like we've been inured, or I don't know if that's the right word to use, but trained that especially you and I come from a world where everything was driven by productivity and
hmm
controlling the outcomes. And I
Oh yeah.
get that, controlling quality, but also instant results and risk has become too inefficient to justify, or has it?
Oh yeah. The risk is. I mean, in the business sense, I feel like there's minimal gut trusting anymore. And I get it. There are financial implications beyond just this decision, right? Whatever it is, but there's risk mitigation is a main driver in business anymore. It feels like it at least. I don't.
Yeah, and that's
Whether it's right or
I've
wrong,
always
it's what it is. I'm not running a company, so I can't give a perspective beyond this. Feels like the right thing to do, and then attach
yeah,
the numbers
yeah.
to it. But
Well, I will give credit to the tech company I used to work at for like almost a decade, and I found out from when I started, it got less and less though. I'll tell you, the less and less willingness to take a risk. Because
well, yeah,
at
that's I
first it
think
was,
yeah, you get comfy and like you to like we need to be safe and not make too big of decisions, and it becomes a ship that might need to be nimble becomes a ship that it's going to go straight into the ocean, ideally not the iceberg.
you were going to say shitter, and I want you to be confident with the fact that you can still say curse words if it's appropriate, Ben. That's fine. But
Okay, I'll squeak in the 5 seconds every so often, and then wait 1 second. The impact of
we
that
could
to
just,
land, man.
I think we've given the warning. We've given the warning. It's
Okay.
but I think, because like I say, like you mentioned, a key word is safety. And I think it
Mhm.
all stems from, not all stems from, but it's going to stem from like people's mind. I don't know if you remember back in the day when the lady who burnt herself, I think on her thigh, she sued McDonald's for $1 million and got it.
I think that's when it started.
Well, I think so, right? Because that's the
It was
first thing I thought of.
a Sentinel event.
Well, because I mean, sure, certainly, like you and I, as we design processes, as you worked as a design engineer, working with me as a manufacturing engineer, then we would make sure that we design the product and the process to be the safest and the most ergonomically sound we could. That's just because we care about people, and that's just like the way to do it. It's just a given. We're not going to compromise that. But it's all, like I mentioned, at this tech company where I used to work, we were all about, I swear the first, and me and my friends they still work there or they no longer work there, but we talked about the first few years was a Wild West show. Just like boom, boom, go, 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 implement, implement. What's your idea? Run with that, see what happens. But then it was like, uh, let's not being so, I want to see some more numbers. I want to see some more data. I want to understand how we're going to improve safety. I want, like, come on, man. They just like basically they're just putting the brakes on the idea.
Mhm.
And I
I
get it. I
don't.
mean, you can never compromise safety. We all know that, but we need to make other people know that we know that, you know?
Mhm. No, it's always a tough one. I mean, and I don't know. It's difficult to make the changes, but I feel like if you're in a company, and I feel like a startup has to take those risks because you're scrambling to survive. Once you're there, it's just kind of it. Why would we consider sacrificing this? Why would we
Exactly.
why would we why would we consider a bit of a loss or upsetting shareholders or whatever else or in your household? Why would I go out and add on to this house because I want to and it's going to add value to the house without putting a proper plan in place? Or why would I do XYZ thing without really considering all the nuances and versus just winging it? Granted, I'm the last one to wing it, generally speaking. But hey, we
I don't
did our
know.
podcast a couple years ago, so
Well, you always had the reputation of being the one in control, and like we could always rely on that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to use the phrase because I know you're probably tired of hearing it by now.
no, I've always got the stick. It's fine.
Ben's got the stick. Who's got the stick? Ben's got the stick. Because we could always look back and we'd be like, we could trust him no matter what kind of knucklehead things we were doing over here. We could look back and we just get a nod from you, like shut up and keep going.
Man, talk about winging it. Even today, oh man, I wing it all the time for work purposes. It's always fun though, like the discomfort in not doing the same thing that you've always done.
There you go.
I
There you
don't,
go.
yeah, and outside of work, I mean, in work, I don't do engineering at all. I don't touch it besides complain about it and help. But I'm personally doing stuff I've never done before, and it's different, so it's fun. But I think it's always like you can always learn. You can do something that you've never done, but lean in what do you do know to do this new thing. So it's like you
Oh,
can always kind
exactly.
of. I think you have to take your background, whatever task you're doing. Like I'm going to work on this engine. I know one thing about this engine thing, but what can I build from there and be curious? I think that's. I think it's probably falsely attributed to Walt Whitman, but the phrase "be curious" it is something I think that is underappreciated. Like, what does
Yeah,
it
to
mean?
learn. Well, I mean, because it's, and I hate to put, the spin on it that a lot, and well, I guess I just want, people like our younger listeners, we have a strong demographic from 35 on up. For me, that's a lot younger. But because I think I just told you that recently I interviewed for another job at a company and they were looking for similar characteristics to what I had done over the last 25 years. And even though I have no idea what they're doing specifically, I was willing to interview for that role and jump into it because I knew, like I had a mentor back in the day, Dan Herkelman. Dan, if you're listening, still respect the Herc, but like it's like he, because I think you and I probably talked about it before too. But if you're like looking at moving into a new role, it should be something that you have. If there's like four key characteristics to be successful, you should have two in your back pocket. But understand you're going to learn the other two. I know it's an oversimplification, but that's just a way of saying like things like you just mentioned, like you've learned in the past, you've got a certain amount of confidence that you can pick up the new. And that's where some of the fun comes in. Like some of the interesting, like you're walking in new, you got no idea what's gonna and a lot of that was with the new technology I've been introducing the last 9, 10 years. And it's like we have an idea, but we're always going to get surprised. But we also know we can react to that and we'll be okay.
I mean, it's I think our old employer, our collective employer, that they would really focus when I started. They were focused on the job training, and
Yeah.
I think like that's a form of winging it, and that being acceptable, right? It's a form of going in the unknown with, hey, you're doing this thing. We're going to train you on the way. You have this background set of skills, this baseline set of skills. Now take that, but then here's something new. And I feel like in life, that's can be very similar.
Yeah, that's why I
As long
hope
as
we're,
if you
they're
approach
not.
it that way, it's not. And it's hard. Sometimes it's difficult to kind of zoom out for a second and say, "Hey, this isn't so crazy after all." But if you approach these unknown things in life in a certain way, of we know this much, we've got this background to figure this out. We can at least look at the next thing and say, "All right, what do I know about something corollarily or
Yeah,
ancillarily related to it?"
I just hope we're not like building, an ingrained reticence to try new things. I know I mean, because I hate to keep using, my kids as a reference, but they come from, I believe, the millennial generation, but they are not afraid of trying something new. I'm
Hmm.
proud of both of them for chasing their dreams, and one of them, both of them for just trying they knew that they had, I know they have the work ethic, but what they were coming into was new. Like, wow, it's like I can't believe what they're doing, tell you the truth. But I just hope that, from this topic that we're not building a culture that just has an ingrained reticence to try to get out there because they're used to have anything sure, everything kind of handed to them.
I think I probably take I'll probably take a more optimistic view on that overall. I think that there's a window of generational, I'll say, adherence to safety. There's a window within maybe the how they were raised by whichever parent generation. I'll say young boomers. I don't know. Mine were boomers, um, and it sounds like a similar way to how you've raised your children. Not that you're a boomer,
I am. I'm right
right?
on the end of it.
Okay, yes, a young boomer, but not that kind. I don't know. There's definitely a generational change because I do feel like parents of children of like my son's age kind of give a bit more levity to just figure it out. Like just so and I think there's definitely a section of a subsect of whatever generation or or sub generation there is of safety and knowing it and here's the screen and do what this says and that's that versus the exploratory. Well, let's go look for something new. Let's go try something different.
Yeah, I like the way and I've mentioned Cat before. I'm just like hesitant to reference the previous company I worked for, but so we can talk
Okay.
about Cat freely. But I like the way our teams, the teams I've worked with Cat through the years, but also the work where you and I work together in Pennsylvania, a little bit south of Pittsburgh. Um, that if they had we were learning because it was a
Mhm.
new product line, completely new product line. So we took what the teams that had been working with it for the years through the years, what they knew worked, and we would apply CAT principles and standards and what we knew to make it work better, to make it work safer, and then we came up with a nice hybrid plan in the middle.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. I mean, it's kind of it, going back. Everybody's got a plan. To quote a famous boxer, everybody's got a
Yeah,
plan to get punched in the nose. And I think
I can't remember which.
but we got to be good with that punch in the nose and then after, right? Like that's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
contingency planning, and you can't imagine all of them, but at least being creative, being able to be
yeah. You
creative.
wipe you wipe this you wipe the snot off, and you're like, yeah, okay, okay, I deserve that. I should have
Yeah,
seen that coming, but
yeah, yeah. But then you do figure out you redirect. You have to shift, and being nimble and agile is important.
But
It's always good to
do you
have the
think?
end game in mind, but
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, and it's not always comfortable to get that punch in the nose either.
no,
I mean, who would?
not by that guy.
But do you ever notice now how like you and I were talking prior to starting the recording that the reflex to fill time, if you're bored at all, there's a reflex to fill it. It's like, I've got to pick up the phone, I've got to look, or I've got to, get on the computer, I've got to do something. It's just, what does that say about our tolerance for just being still?
It's I think it says it indicates that it's low. I think that it's we're given all these things that entertain us to it has to be an intentional thought in a person to be still versus an intentional thought to uh oh, I'm still. But I was hoping to get on my phone. I was hoping to do this. But it had to be intentional about being still because we are given all these things around us, all these lit signs and all that stuff
Yeah.
versus just driving and watching the road.
It's gotten worse for me, not worse, but I used to, I mean, because now that I'm coming on nearly 10 months being, I guess, retired. See, I keep saying, I guess, because I'm not really comfortable with it yet, but there's still a reflex that I should be doing something. I should be, but I still have times where I can like declare, like, as long as I get my chores done, to keep it short, as long as I've earned some free time or some still time, I'm fine with it.
No, that makes sense. I think um, that's valid. I think the need for constant stimulation is something that you have to break as a society. We have to break that mold or that
Well,
whether that's just audio or otherwise. Sometimes
oh
it's really
yeah,
good just
yeah.
to sit in silence. I think it's
That's a
important to sit
great
in
point.
silence.
Just even, even like you, I don't know if you meant this way, but sometimes just like some good tunes or just kicking it to some, let's be honest, some George Strait. I'm okay with that. But so I guess like redefining time well spent is what we got to do because I don't know, do you think is our discomfort with boredom cultural?
Um, I think it's a
Like unless
norm.
we're producing or consuming, we're wasting time?
Uh, yeah, the consumer part is something that's a new thought when I was thinking about this earlier. The consumer part is interesting because consumption can be a waste of time too. And then that's
Certainly can.
as far as it affects our lives, our mental health, our physical health. Um, so I guess that's interesting way to put it. But
Well, I don't know why, if they say if we're not consuming, I guess in our minds we're thinking, well, consuming drives the need to replace and therefore drives demand and that drives productivity. So I don't know, that might be a stretch.
mhm. I mean, what if you're just sitting there just in the silence thinking about things? Is that producing? Because what if your thoughts lead you to this is how I could do this differently in my life?
Yeah.
Is it
Well,
so?
well, that's
Is it a dichotomy only? Is it it's yin and yang and producing, consuming, and that's it? Or is there more else? Is there more there?
well, can you think of the last time just like uh you're thinking, as you're just sitting there like nothing to do, and then you're like, oh shit, I should have been doing. I do that all the time, Ben. But then like in my mind, I'm like, you should have been doing this, dumbass. I'm like, don't call,
You call
don't
me
call yourself
dumbass.
a dumbass because. But there's been a lot of things like, well, for example, like this maybe not this extreme, but I heard Nate Bargatze the other day, comedian. You've heard of him, right?
Mhm.
But he was talking about he thinks he's so dumb because he gives the example like when he was like 16, one of his first jobs in high school was working at an amusement park, and he met this couple, and he introduced himself, and he said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Well, I'm John, and this is my wife Jane." And it was Mr. and Mrs. Doe, so John and Jane Doe, and he's like, "Oh, that's nice. That's odd," but and it took him like 25 years later. He's driving down the highway. He's like, "I bet they were messing with me." So, so
Mhm.
sometimes when I have, because he's driving on, he's got time to think. He's like, wait a minute, back then. And I do stuff now, like, I mentioned like I had gotten a Jeep, and I never had backup camera in my life. So this I've got a used Jeep. It's a few years old, but it's still new enough that it's got that technology. So I
What do
was
you?
like, I had it for like 7 months before I realized I could use the backup camera to park better. Not
Mm.
Like you can drive through like a double parking space and as I'm backing up to make sure I'm right, I usually would
Mhm.
get out and look and and then say, oh, I can go a little further. You can use the backup camera for
That's a
that.
boomer
And
move right there.
I know. I was like, no, you dumbass. You've had this capability all the time. But I just had a second. I guess the point is to think about it. I'm like, oh, yeah. And now my life is minimally better.
Hmm. Way to reflect on that backup camera.
I put myself out there, right? I just,
Mhm. You really did.
but I think what we
No.
sacrifice to the digital world isn't just silence. It's like the space, the room,
Mhm.
like you were mentioning, the room for your brain to wander.
Yeah, and the thinking process. I mean, obviously you want to. I can't say I sit there and think, man, I'd love to play guitar. I'd love to go to do X, Y, Z thing. I feel like I just personally am always I think about, well, what could this be better? How could I do this? Holy hell! I have so much. The garage is full of shit. 5 seconds. Um,
Too
and then
late.
and then it's like I should do these things, and then something happens or some stimulation comes up, and it's like, oh shit! All right, well, later. But I think
Well,
that's where the silence is really nice. Like
I gotta say, like, well, because
but
like you, as a parent, and you're working too many hours probably, and you're a baseball coach, and you got things with. So, I mean, I think, and you can look forward to this, Ben. I've gotten to the point I've said before. I used to work 5 days a week, probably 10 hours, then like 4 hours on Saturday just to make sure I'm caught up on everything. And then I start thinking about Sunday, like what I need to do. So all these inputs were coming in, and I know there's expectations, but now that they're kind of quiet, it feels like my mind's got more space to think about things.
today actually, so I'm home alone for today,
I know. Thank you for taking the
tomorrow.
time. I mentioned this is
Nobody's
valuable
here.
time.
And so, but I chose to, for some reason, I chose to recaulk back the
Oh,
backsplash in the kitchen, and I will say I successfully did it without any mental or audible stimulation. Just me and my thoughts and a bunch of really annoying, really nasty uh, old silicon, and it
isn't
was
it
kind of
nice
nice,
though?
honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Isn't it nice? Because, I'll be thinking to myself, I'll look like you say, because it's the backsplash thing. I'm like, what's that little stain on my back? So then I was like, well, you know what? It's been a long time since I took everything out of the kitchen and just did a
Hmm.
deep clean of everything. But when you put it all back, it might have taken me 2.5 hours, but feeling pretty good.
Hmm. Now, little things
What
like that.
do you ever make, because this is what I was going to say, like talked about earlier, but do you ever like come up with creative ways to fill your day and you're like, that was a damn good day. But like when you were a kid and we talked about it, like your parents would be like on a Saturday morning, like, what are you still doing in the house? Just get out. And they didn't care where you were going and you didn't know where you were going. You got on
Mm-mm.
your bike and you took off down the hill and just to see what was going to come of it. You didn't think like, what's for lunch or what am I going to have for dinner or actually where am I even going? My whole plan probably was like to go down to the gas station and get a can of Mr. Pibb. Sorry I said that. Everybody in Texas don't hate me because I know Dr. Pepper was invented here. But go get a can of pop. And that's how my day was going to start because I knew something would come of it.
Hmm. No bad day starts with a can of pop.
Or evening and a different kind of pop, but I get it.
Hmm. I mean, let's be honest. Some bad evenings start with a good old drink of something, but also good evenings. That's a wild card right there. Depends on what you're consuming.
Well, you're in Kentucky, so I hope you're talking bourbon in the evening.
Yeah, obviously.
That's it. I don't want to get off track too much here, but apparently that seems to be my MO. But when I visited my son in your region last fall, what a beautiful countryside. But I love because at the airport, there's bourbon signs and there's bourbon
Mm.
samples and bourbon. And it's like,
There's
then I
samples?
didn't, yeah, somebody was sampling their bourbon, like some celebrity who
I've
felt the
never
need they
I've
got to
never been
sell.
able to come in that kind of convenience. Damn it.
I think it was, oh God, who's the guy who played Casey, I think, on Yellowstone? I think he's got a bourbon now.
Okay.
Oh no, it was a singer. It was, oh God, I can't remember his name. Blonde, curly hair, great looking dude. Probably got a few 100 million in the bank, but he feels like he's got to sell bourbon too. Uh,
Mm.
but they were sampling his stuff. But but yeah, what a great area that you live in. Because my son and I, of course, we did some distillery tours. Wild turkey, oh my God, it's so impressive. It's so venerated. And but then I
Hmm.
forgot about, you've got the horse culture there too. And I forgot what a big deal that is in Kentucky.
It's pretty big. I mean, we're now into Keeneland time, the local track right by the airport here. It's their month of racing.
Yeah, they're talking
And
about,
then,
like, the tour bus driver. It was like, don't talk to him. He just lost a lot of money betting on the horses this weekend. "Oh, I'll be back next weekend," that kind of thing.
mhm.
But uh,
Yeah, that's
but you
how it
could tell
goes.
they weren't doing it just to bet on stuff to bet on. They're betting because of a passion for the passion for the ponies, I guess.
Mm, I haven't put it like that. Pony passion.
But if ooh, careful. But if but I guess, to get back on track, if you want to, we got some tips if you want to break free from the fear of explanation and kind of like maybe embrace uncertainty a little bit. Couple ideas. First of all, and I'm guilty of this as well. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Perfection is a myth. If you're waiting for everything to align, if you're waiting for all, you'll make more money. Don't break yourself, break the bank, but you can afford a little of an investment. But the best time to start now, or start is now. So start starting, small steps that push you toward getting out of your comfort zone. Things. Honestly, I'm going to be doing it this at the end of the month. I'm going down to Big Bend to do some camping, and I've alone. Second of all, but I've never West Texas desert camped before. I'm kind of leery about rattlesnakes and
Mm-hmm.
big ass spiders, but
Hmm.
I'm bringing a gun. So just I've hiked Big Bend before. I've never camped down there, so I'm a little bit hesitant, but I'm gonna give her a go.
No, I think that'll be fun. I'm going to give you a 5 second thing here, but I think we with this phrase is always something that's like I say said in a negative way. Like you do, I guess a nicer way to say it is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But sometimes you have to 5 seconds fuck around and find out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it can have good results. It's not just do that and then you get hurt or injured or something bad happens. Like sometimes finding out's good.
Yeah, and I hope I don't find out that the best way to approach it was to sleep in the back seat of my Jeep every night. But
I mean,
we'll
you're
see.
elevated.
Yeah, see, that's right there. Because I've got a cot I'm going to put inside my little tent, so I'll be that far off the ground. So even, like, again, we bring up Yellowstone when Jimmy came down to Texas for the first time from Montana, and the old cowboy from Texas, he's like, "We don't usually sleep on the ground here. It's a good way to get introduced to a snake." And like, gotcha. He's like, sleep on a bench or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, how about expose yourself to discomfort regularly? Even little things like we just talked about. Chuck your phone on the kitchen counter, turn it off for a
Hmm.
day. Uh, don't use the GPS sometime. Like you talked about going from Virginia to the west side of the country. Do it again. You could do it again. The worst thing you're going to run into is that unexpected traffic, right?
Yep. Right around St. Louis, I'm sure.
Probably. It's probably still there from when you went to Virginia.
I think so. Yeah, we just good thing we went around it.
But yeah, just like I think generally just try to put yourself in situations that challenge you. I know it can be not fun, but you'll look back and you'll say, like, "Oh, that wasn't, too bad."
Well,
Take a
does it have
different
to
way
be
home.
fun? I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
it doesn't have to. Things, not everything has to be fun to
it could be
be
starting like
good. You know?
a difficult conversation, something you've been putting off with somebody because it's going to be difficult. So
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't have to be confrontational, but get it over with.
I mean, it's awkward sometimes. It's not. It's those aren't fun. Those are not. I mean, even with family, people at the workplace, things like that, it's. I think it is. And I don't know if it's just me personally, but I appreciate when someone just says what it is. Don't dance around it. Don't uh, beat around the bush. Just say, here's what we're going to talk about, and that's the most. That's the least awkward. That's I think acknowledging that it's a tough topic is the first thing to making it tough anymore. Just say, hey, this is a shitty conversation, but we have to have it,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then just go on to have it. Again,
I like
you
when
just kind of get that elephant and acknowledge it and go forward.
I like when they use, like, the second sentence is going to be, this is going to be, like you say, an uncomfortable topic. Uh, and then the second phrase is, but I'll tell you what, like, but
Yeah.
I'll,
I got
I
something
like
to
that.
say.
Yeah, you're going to hear it. Like, that's great. Get it out of your system. And then if you can keep it like factual and data driven and kind of rational.
That's yeah.
But okay, so but we got a lot of that, didn't we? At Cat in Pennsylvania.
Tough conversations.
And a lot of you're going to hear what I need to say.
Yeah, sometimes what some people need to say is a little use, but hey, they felt better, and then
Well,
they
see,
left
there
you
you
alone.
go.
It's like
That's
someone
right.
who's coming up to ask you for like I don't know. Sometimes someone wants to come say something. Great, I'm glad you got that off your chest. Now
Yeah,
5 seconds, fuck off, and we'll keep going and doing what we're doing.
I got that a lot coming up to the engineering department from the manufacturing floor. Just so you know,
Mhm. Oh yeah,
not from you personally,
never. No, no, I don't hear you have to
but I
say
had
anything.
gotten it back in Illinois when I started, working as a manufacturing engineer, and I would come up and talk to the engineer, and there was one engineer. And Ram, if you're listening, that wasn't his full name, is because that was his Indian name that he shortened from like 74 letters to three, so Americans could pronounce it. But Ram would start shaking his head when he saw me coming about 20 foot away. And I was like, if you shake your damn head one more time. He's like, okay, how about like you mentioned earlier, failure isn't a reflection on you. I mean, it can be like you probably maybe you should have been better prepared, or maybe it's
Mhm.
just something you didn't know. But reframe failure as feedback. It's a valuable learning tool. And when things don't go as planned, try to analyze what went wrong, adjust the approach, and try again, right?
Just fix it. I mean, I'm going to bring up a coaching thing, baseball thing, because I live my
Good.
life through coaching and work metaphors anymore. Um, but specifically baseball with children, little league baseball. So let's just
Let's
make
do
sure
it.
let's qualify the seriousness of this topic. Um, but no, I think there was a time when um, in the silence of driving somewhere with no radio, just kind of driving to work, I was reflecting on some reason a game where like we didn't do a certain thing, or I didn't. It's like I should have done this. Should have called the squeeze play on this. We could have won that game. Like next time, so next time we're in that situation, I'm going to call the squeeze. And then we got in the same situation a couple days after that realization, and called a squeeze and won the game. And it was just like we failed the first time, we lost. Second time we called the squeeze to pull off the win. And it's like stuff like that, right? You learn from what didn't happen. The silence allows you time to reflect, and you
Yeah.
make a change next time. Just make mental notes.
Well, I think it also like then it starts putting in you and then with the teams you're working with, like the iterative process
Hmm.
can diminish the power of fear over time. Like, like I said, something's gonna happen. But I'm comfortable that I can react and I know enough now that we're gonna react. We might lose a little bit, but we'll pick it up, so don't worry about it.
Hmm.
But then it's like kind of a way of reinforcing the fear of exploration, or uh, to be a little bit more of an adventurous mindset, and to lead you to some personal growth. And I will say, Ben, uh, I do believe the squeeze bunt is a pretty aggressive play for Little League baseball. But I'm proud of you
Nobody
for
expects it.
thinking,
Nobody expects it. And then right place, right time.
for thinking and calling it. And boy, that's got to be exciting for the third base runner, though, right? Because that's a commitment.
Oh
I've
yeah,
done it before. You got to get halfway down the line, while
yeah,
the pitcher's in the windup.
yep. Well, and yeah, and it worked. We did it again this year against the same team, and they saw it coming, and we didn't see it coming. The coaches saw it coming, and it got us on the board. It was a
I
nice
love
play.
it. I love it. I knew you were the right person to talk about this, Ben, because you get it.
I don't know, man. I hope so.
Well, see, there you go. See, don't, but you're gonna, and I've done. Oh God, what was it? Something was making. Oh yeah, John and I were just talking about it. I was telling you that former manager at Cat.
Yeah.
It's called. Oh God, the calls we made and the prices we paid. I like it because it rhymed. We didn't really
Hmm.
pay a lot of prices, but there were sacrifices, personal, professional, whatever, to make sure we're doing the right thing. And you wonder, you just like you look back like you're doing now. You're looking back, you're like, but you're not going to get it all right, Ben.
No, no. Get it the most right it can be.
Very
Do
few parents,
the
aside from
most
myself,
right.
ever get it all right.
No, no. Do the most right, the most best thing you can do.
There you go. That
Yeah,
might be the name of the episode.
fantastic.
If you don't mind me using the words most best,
No, I mean, and so you can put best in quotations, I guess, to make it grammatically correct, right?
maybe we'll
Because I mean,
see.
the best thing you can do, we got to be relative. Like the best thing is just like tip top, but the closest thing to it is going to be the
That's
most. That's 100. Best is 100%. Approaching that is
now
most best.
it's no longer most best, it's most goodest.
No, 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 no. We're not gonna deflate and uh, demoralize ourselves that much.
No, we're only going to take so much for the team, right?
Yeah,
But hey, Ben, it's been great. Like I say, I know this is a rare free time for you, so I won't keep you too much longer than I already have. But it was great catching up again, and we can't wait another like season to go by, like
you're right.
before we get together
We
again.
should do something. And let's and I'll let you know how baseball goes. So like early
Yeah, yeah,
June, let's catch up early June. I can give you the play by play. I can give you the highlights of the season.
that'll be fun. That'll be a good. It's we'll do the mid-season report because that'll be like maybe that again name of an episode because a lot of stuff's going on right now. So we'll see how in the world and with us and personally, professionally, and you can see if I've found some gainful employment by then.
Yeah, or you just stay retired.
Ooh, ooh, that's a tough call. All right, buddy. Well, I'll bring this to an end. Thanks again for stopping by, and for everybody who's listening, really stop by the new
The store for the
webpage.
merch.
Yeah, the merch store. Stop by the new webpage, see what you think, offer some feedback, and you'll see on every episode I've released over the last month and a half, I do have a feedback link in there now. And just so everybody knows, it doesn't go directly to me. So you can say what you want because it goes onto Google, and Google lets me know I've got feedback, and that's where I see it. So if you want me to directly respond to you, put your email in there. Don't leave your phone number. I'm probably not going to call you. But uh, but yeah, if you want to give me some feedback, let me know.
I expect a call back.
I'll
Just
call
let
you,
me
Ben.
know. I'm going to give you feedback.
See now.
I'll go look at the website right now.
All right, man.
Shit reviews.
Well,
5 seconds.
I'll let you get I'll let you get after it. Thanks again, Ben. We'll see you next
Thanks,
time.
Mitch.